Hi everyone. So lately I've been on a bit of a trailing houseplant kick. I just can't seem to stop buying hanging houseplants. So today I thought I would show you some of my favourites at the moment. These are in no particular order, but first is my Easter cactus. And yeah, this one is just probably one of my easiest houseplants, but also I just really love the way it falls. The shape of the leaves, it's just such a cool plant to watch grow, and it does flower in Easter too. It has some lovely red flowers, so I really do love this one. It kind of reminds me a bit of, I guess, spider's legs, and yeah, I quite like that about it. And as I say, this one is really low maintenance. I could definitely highly recommend this one. And yeah, I know a lot of you guys have got holiday cactuses, because they come in different colours, don't they? I think you can get pink, white, maybe another colour, I'm not sure, but they all kind of bloom at different times of year. But this one kind of blooms roughly around Easter, but sometimes it's a little bit late, but it always does come out with flowers eventually. And yeah, I just really love this one. I have it in a spot in my bedroom, and it just goes perfectly on my shelf. And with hanging plants, it's really nice when they kind of just fall nicely. They're really good for putting on shelves and things like that. So next is, let me just turn it round. This is the Philodendron Brazil, and I actually love this one so much that I have two of them. This is the one that I've actually had the longest, and the reason it doesn't have very long vines at the moment is because I propagated it a lot last year, and you'll see there's quite a lot of plants in the pot there. And yeah, last year I propagated it in order to create a fuller plant. So during the growing season in 2025, I shall see this one taking off a bit, but the other one I've got hanging up is one that I got fairly recently, and it has much bigger leaves. It's a bigger plant, and yeah, I just couldn't resist getting another one. That's how much I love these. I reckon that everyone should have one of these. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, it doesn't matter if you're intermediate, whatever you are. I think this makes a really excellent houseplant, and I'm always recommending this one to everyone. It's got some really cool markings on the leaves, and you can see sometimes they come out almost all lime green as well. So you do get lots of different colours, and I think, if I'm right in saying this, I think it depends on how much light you give it. So if you give it lots of light, it will come out with these kind of almost completely lime green leaves, and if you give it not quite as much, it might just have more of a stripe. But I kind of like that about this plant, because it's nice when a plant surprises me when I'm not quite sure what the next leaf is going to look like. I quite like that. So yeah, I do enjoy the Philodendron Brazil. And again, this one just looks great on a shelf and just cascading out of the pot. Yeah, I could highly recommend this one if you're looking for a hanging plant that's also super easy. So next up is my Marble Queen Pothos, and again, this is another really easy plant. It puts out some really beautiful white variegation, and this one does also have a reverted vine coming out just here, but I quite like that about this plant. I kind of really like seeing the green and the variegation next to each other, but if you give this one plenty of light, it definitely gives some absolutely gorgeous variegation. And I know some people find this one fairly slow to grow. I think it grows faster when you give it a pole, that's for sure, because I have one on a pole and then I have this hanging one, and the one I have climbing definitely grows faster. So maybe just make sure you give it plenty of light if you like it to grow fairly fast. I wouldn't say it was a slow grower when it's trailing, but it definitely doesn't get as bigger leaves, and yeah, it's just a little bit slower than if you give it a pole to climb. But it makes a really beautiful hanging plant, and yeah, over time it will just get really long vines. And again, this one is super easy to look after too, and you can pretty much get this one anywhere. I'd say I probably see this in the garden centre every time I go. So yeah, if you want one, you can probably get hold of it easily. But yeah, this is just one of those staple houseplants, and it has a little bit more interest than the regular pothos. Not that there's anything wrong with a normal green pothos, they're nice too, but this one's just got a little bit of added interest to it, which I like. Another of my all-time favourite hanging plants is my string of hearts. I absolutely adore this one. I just think it's so, I don't know, it just looks very different on the shelf next to the other plants. I don't think I have another plant that kind of has foliage like this with the small leaves, and the vines are very, very delicate. And yeah, I'd say this one is a fairly fast grower too, at least it is for me. It could vary, of course, depending on conditions and everything, but yeah, this one's too long for me to get in shot, so I'll just hold it like that. But since I've had this one, it has grown so much, and yeah, I just think it's really cool. It's definitely easy care for me, at least. I know we don't all find the same plants easy, so if you don't, then that's okay, but personally I found it easy so far. I mean, they're easy until they're not, aren't they? If they get a problem and we end up having to nurse them, sometimes they can just kind of go downhill pretty quickly. But so far, this one's been easy and it's been fast growing. And yeah, I just made sure I followed the right care advice for it, made sure it gets light, and I water it when it's dry, and basically that's all I do really, to be honest. And it seems happy, so yeah. It kind of looks like a bit of a hairdo, I suppose, like long hair. So next is a plant that we weren't quite sure of the ID on. This is a type of Rhipsalis, but I've been doing some research and looking at photos close up, and I think this is the Rhipsalis boliviana. So, and I think one of you did suggest that actually in the comments, so thank you for that suggestion. I basically investigated all the suggestions, all the Rhipsalis that looked kind of similar, and yeah, I just did some research, and I think it is the Rhipsalis boliviana, but this one is definitely so cool. I mean, I just really enjoy this plant. It's good when the plant hobby is fun, isn't it? This one just brings like a sense of fun to my collection, for me at least. It's kind of crazy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it grows. You know, you can see here it's got kind of tendrils growing off a tendril, and I don't know, I'm just really enjoying watching it grow. And weirdly as well, it does actually look like it's got drainage materials in there, which you don't normally find, do you, from garden centres and stuff. They normally put them in something that retains too much water, but yeah, I feel quite confident that I can just leave this one in its pot. And yeah, I just absolutely love this. And I know a lot of you guys were saying, what is it, we'd like to get it. So hopefully now I've solved the mystery on the name of the plant. Yeah, in future I will just be really thrilled to be watching this one grow. I guess it's probably fairly easy to propagate from. I'm not sure, but I will look forward to finding out. But yeah, I love this one. It looks so cool and jungly hanging off my shelf, and it is a jungle cactus. So jungle cactuses can kind of take slightly more water. They don't necessarily need to be as dry and, you know, as a desert cactus would, if you think about the difference in where they live, the desert, the jungle, two different things. So yeah, they are a little bit different, and I really like jungle cactuses. In fact, I think I might get some more of these this year. So next up is this huge Tradescantia. I've stood up to show you because it's quite a big plant, and you may have seen my latest plant haul video where I showed you this one. I literally just bought it like a few days ago or something, but I just love it. It's so summery. It's almost a bit like a flower basket, but not. And again, it almost gives me sort of a summery spring feeling. I just love it. I have watered it. I'm monitoring it quite a bit because with it being such a big plant, I'm a little suspicious that it may be quite thirsty. It could be root bound. I'm kind of dreading having to repot this one, I've got to be honest, because I can't actually see the pot. It's under there somewhere, but yeah, to find the price for the lady in the garden centre, I kind of had to part the vines and find it in there. But yeah, I imagine when I do have to repot this one, it's probably going to end up having a lot of bits falling off, so I'll definitely do it in spring. That way I can propagate whatever falls off, so it will be fine. And to be honest, Tradescantias, as most of you know if you've got Tradescantias, they do kind of thrive on being propagated. Eventually they start to get a little bit bald on top and a bit leggy, and you do have to kind of propagate to fill them out a bit. But yeah, this is the, I didn't think I said the name, Tradescantia quadricolor, and yeah, it's just gorgeous. I love this one. Next is my neon pothos, and I absolutely love this one. I did actually just notice as I took it down, it has a little bit of burning there, and I think it was from one of my grow lights, because I think it's hanging down and touching the grow light, so I shall deal with that after this. But it's just one leaf by the looks of it. It must have just been touching it. Maybe it was a bit too much light for it. I don't see any pests on there. But yeah, back to the plant. This is the, as I say, the neon pothos, and I really love this one. It's definitely one of my all-time favourites. It grows so fast, and it's just this absolutely beautiful green colour. Mine, I think, is very root bound because it's needing watering very often, and even in the middle of winter, so that tells me it probably is root bound. And this is a plant that does tend to spread its roots pretty prolifically, so I should probably get this one on a repot first thing in spring. I don't want to risk doing it at the moment because it's not exactly growing as much as usual, and I'm trying to limit the winter casualties that I have in my plant collection, and I definitely don't want this one to be a casualty. No thank you. This is one of my favourites, so I'm always a bit nervous repotting, but even though pothos plants are so easy to care for, I do find that sometimes when you repot them, they can throw a bit of a tantrum. So I don't really like repotting them, but I will do it. But yeah, I think I will wait just to make sure that I don't shock the plant or cause any problems, but I will definitely move it away from that grow light too. It is getting new leaves, it's just, it grows probably 3 times as fast, maybe even more during the spring, summer. This was literally a tiny plant up here when I got it, and I've only had it kind of one growing season. So all the growth you see is from just one growing season. So yeah, if you are looking for a bit of a different pothos, this one's really cool and super easy. And it seems to be fine with different light levels too, although mine gets probably medium to bright and direct. It's okay in low light too, so it's a really unfussy plant and one that you can kind of forget about. This one is root bound, as I said, and so it does dry out really quickly, but even so, it still is fine. It doesn't really throw a tantrum. Maybe the leaves will look a little bit shriveled or floppy, and that will just tell me it's ready for a drink, but this is one of those heroes of the plant world, in my opinion. Next is another Tradescantia, and I make no apologies, but my Tradescantia collection really is growing at the moment and I'm loving them. So another Tradescantia, this is the Tradescantia Nanook, and it's absolutely stunning. It's got beautiful colours, and I don't know if I turn it around, can you see there's just some stunning kind of glowy purple tones. I really love this one. It's got really thick fleshy leaves too. A lot of Tradescantias, they don't. Some of them have quite thin leaves, but this one has really thick fleshy leaves, and you do need to propagate this one on a regular basis because, as with all Tradescantias, it can get a bit leggy, and that's fine if you are willing to just chop and prop. All you have to do really is just chop it and put it straight back into the soil. So I wouldn't be put off if you like this plant. But yeah, I used to have one of these and mine kind of bit the dust. It came to the end of its life, and so I decided to get another one recently, and I'm really glad I did because it's very bright and very cheery, and I just love pink plants. I'm always up for a pink plant. Right, just one more Tradescantia, I promise. Well, I've kind of squeezed 2 in here, a bit cheeky, because this one has a mixture of Tradescantia zebrina and Tradescantia Purple Passion. Yeah, it's 2 different ones in the pot, and it's really good to do mixed pots or Tradescantias because usually their care requirements are the same and they look really pretty as well. And I've just noticed mine is getting some flowers. I've never seen that before. So that's its first flowers. Looks like another one there. That one looks like it may have gone. I didn't notice it had them. They're kind of a light purple colour. I don't know if it shows very well there. Yeah, how cool is that? Do we have any more? I don't think every vine is flowering. And I think that's the Purple Passion that's flowering. The Zebrina one. I don't think the Zebrina one is flowering. What's that? Yeah, sometimes they get brown marks on them, but yeah. Interestingly, this one's kind of growing upwards as well. That might be because I have it in a window, so it doesn't want to grow down, but I'm finding it quite interesting. And these were 2 little plants that I bought last year that I planted together, and yeah, they've just been growing very nicely together. Next up is my Black Pagoda lipstick plant, and I really love this plant. I think I've had this one for just 1 growing season so far, but I really enjoy having this plant, and I know a lot of you guys have this plant too and you love it too. But yeah, I'd say it's maybe kind of fast growing, although I don't really think I've had it long enough to be able to say that yet. But yeah, I kind of got it towards the end of the growing season, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it does in 2025. But I had to give this one a mention because, as I say, it's one of my favourites, and I think this comes in different colours too. There's a variegated one, although this one does have variegation, but I think there's a kind of a lighter green version. But I really love this version. It's got that kind of purpley leopard print almost on it, and yeah, I just really love this plant. Let me know in the comments what your favourite hanging plants are. I would love to know. Thanks for watching today. Take care.